Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's program brought to you by the U.S. Botanic Garden. My name is Courtney Burris, the online education specialist with the Learning and Outreach team here at the Garden. We're so excited to have you joining us today for Creative Seed Sowing Basics, an online lecture with Terry Speight, gardener and author. Terry Speight is the Urban Garden and Container Garden Chair, District 1 for National Garden Clubs, Inc., and the founder and president of Jabali Amani Garden Collective, a garden club for minority women. Through her blog and podcast, Cottage in the Court, she offers a unique perspective on connecting with the earth, as well as curated garden experiences for small groups. As author of Black Flora, Terry speaks locally, internationally, or wherever there's an audience interested in all things gardening. Her topics include the African American floral experience, shade gardening, urban gardening, earth friendly practices for gardeners, and more. She is the co author of The Urban Garden and our speaker for today. Welcome, Terry.
How you doing?
Oh, fantastic. So good to have you back. So good to have you back. Please, you have the floor.
I'm glad to be back. I personally stalk the Botanic Garden, so I'll be there today about 5:07. Takes me about 7 minutes to get around the corner, but I'll do that before I go home to check on my babies. My babies are my seeds. Today's topic is creative seed sowing basics. I hope that I inspire and make you laugh. Who am I? Courtney gave a rundown. I am here, there, and everywhere. And I'm happy to be the missionary of gardening, so to speak. So, we're going to talk about seeds and seed starting today. Why are we starting seeds? Oops, finger got a little happy there. We want to save money. It should be fun. Seed starting does not have to be oh so serious. You have a broader selection when you start things from seed. If you go to the different garden centers, you will see some carry the same things, other carry more boutique brands of seeds, and then there's that online seed store. You can get in trouble. I, for one, need a 12-step seed program. Also, the opportunity to try something new is amazing. When I tell you some of the many things that I've tried that are new, I have put myself on seed purchasing probation right now, but I have some earmarked in case the other ones don't arrive in time. It can take you down the biggest rabbit hole ever, but it's so much fun. Now, before you even start dealing with your seeds, know what zone you're in. This is broadcast everywhere. So I, for one, am in zone 7B in my world, though, /8A, because I've got some plants that traditionally grow in zone 8A, which technically is the Richmond area, but they're growing right in District Heights, Maryland. So I am a zone pusher. I admit to it. Be a zone pusher. Break some rules. It's okay. Okay? To try something new makes gardening that much more fun. And I don't know about you. I don't like doing things that aren't fun. I make fun wherever I go. So if you notice at the zone map, our climate has changed and it's continually changing. After years of an uber mild winter, who thought we would get snow this year, right? But you know what? I went in my garden this morning thinking, oops, I forgot to put that sedum in the ground last fall. It's just laying on top of the ground. Guess what's sprouting? Laying on top of the ground after snow, after all those frigid temperatures that were unexpected because we've had these mild winters. And that sedum is like, you can put me in the ground now, Terry, and I'm okay with that. That's a plant that you want in your garden. Now, is it cost effective? Depending on how much self-control you have. Plants versus seeds. You can get one plant, you can save the seed, that's cost effective, or you can buy the seeds for those plants and tried some of the creative ways that I'm going to show you to have more than one plant for the price of a seed packet. Now, it used to be a time seed packets were really, really inexpensive. Well, there was a seed packet I saw the other day that was $7.99. So, just like everything else, seed pricing is going up. However, $7.99 for a packet of 50 seeds versus $7.99 for one plant, remembering to save the seed at the end of the season, you got to pick your own poison. Do you? There are minimal rules to this experience, at least in my world. Now, traditionally, what did you need? You needed to have a seed tray. Soilless seed starter, any kind, whatever, suits your fancy. Gloves, water, a heat mat, a mister, a fan, a grow hut, dollars. We're talking dollars. You could spend a lot of dollars on the hookup if you want to. If you don't want to, what are you going to need? Look around your house. I have way too much fun in my house. I look in the kitchen as I'm downsizing and purging things. The kitchen has proven to be quite the resource. Your recycle bin. Don't throw everything away. Anything that's in my recycle bin, I look at and go, can I use this for something else in the garden? Look in your closet. You'd be surprised. One year, I thought I was going to organize all my shoes. Well, that wasn't the brightest idea, because then you have to either label the end of the bin or take the shoes out of the bin. Or now I have a collection of bins. Last year's garden containers. Yes, we recycle them, but maybe not always. Save a couple. I'll show you why. And then you have buckets, kitchen pots. Yep. And then gloves. Any kind of gloves will do you. Trust me on this. But we're going to start with our seed selection. What's your budget? Can you go to the dollar store and get seeds? You could. Could you have the time to run around trying to find that one seed that you want? Or are you going to be deep diving on the computer late at night ordering those rare seeds? What are your conditions? Do you have room in your house to start seeds in advance? Do you have room outside to start seeds in advance? And then once they get started, do you have room to put all those transplants? It can get a little crazy. Thank goodness my dog bears with me. And then once those seedlings grow up, are they going in a pot? Are they going in a plot? Are they going in a raised bed? Or have you cleared and prepared that area for those precious babies that you've taken care of by growing them inside? And be realistic about your needs. A tomato seed packet on average has 30 plus seeds. Do you really need 30 Roma tomatoes? I know you probably really love them a lot, but are you going to grow these seedlings just for you? Are you going to share them with friends? Are you going to donate them? Great idea, especially in these days and times. But be realistic about your needs and be realistic about your time. Time, oh my goodness, time. Here's one way to save some money. Go to a seed swap. Seed swaps started right here. Kathy Gents started the seed swap. It's been recognized by seed savers. And let me tell you, I go every year as a volunteer. I'm going to see what kind of seeds people didn't use last year, because that's going to save me money sometimes, because it might be something that I want, or it might be something that I want to try that's new and different. This year I got because it's more than seeds, it's seeds and cuttings. I got a cutting of a fig. I am so excited. I think it's brown turkey, so I'm going to have to put it in the ground. I can't put that in a pot. I don't have a pot big enough for that. But I might start it in a pot. But when you go to a seed swap, there's usually a table with really old seeds. So when you're dealing with really old seeds, I'm talking seeds 3 years or older, you can try to do one seed per cell, but I would really say put half the pack down. You're not going to get a great germination rate. So better to have too many of those and share them versus not enough of them and not even have one. So pay attention to the age of your seed packets when you go to seed swaps. These seed swaps traditionally happen on the last Saturday in January, but you know what? We have seed swaps all the time. Look in your local newsletters, newspapers, community papers, libraries. When I tell you go to one seed swap, you'll be addicted if you're not already. And even some of the garden clubs will have seed swaps and invite others in. Seed swaps are kind of a ritual of spring. So, seed starting alternatives. This year, I decided when I knew I was going to give this talk that I would try everything I could possibly afford. So, I use regular seed starting mix. I use soilless mix. I use these plugs. And I used the seed starting mix and potting soil, indoor potting soil. And I had some interesting results, all good, except for one. You can put them in these trays. Everyone has seen these trays. You get them in anywhere you go. However, when you're using soilless seed starter, mix it with warm water and only make up as much of a batch as you need. Stir it, stir it, stir it, stir it again, stir it more. You're going to be stirring for a moment because all that soilless mix has to absorb the water. And it takes a minute. I use very warm water because I don't have a lot of time. And I want my seeds to be inserted in a warm, moist environment. Remove the excess water. You don't want it to be soupy. If it's soupy, you've overdone the water. It should be a nice, friable mix that's a little firm but still falls apart. When you fill your seed trays, tap it. Don't bang it. Don't pat it down. Because remember, these are little babies. They have to put their roots through that soilless mix or that potting soil. And they're young. They don't have instruction. They got to do this all on their own. So be gentle. Lightly tap it, just so that you get out any air pockets. And make sure that you leave room at the top. So if you want to top it off with vermiculite or extra soil, you can do that. Read your seed packets. The back of those seed packets have so much information. If you don't read it, you're going to miss out. Moisture matters. Moisture matters more than light sometimes. Clear covers, using plastic bags. I don't know who goes to the dry cleaners these days, but I'm sure you have some clear plastic bags from something, whether it's something that you ordered in the mail that comes in a plastic bag. Usually has a little zipper at the end. Save that bag. Don't throw everything away. Recycle it. I'm a major recycler. If you don't have a dome per se, you can use plastic wrap of any kind, upturned clear plastic bowls, plastic shower caps. You go to hotels and they have those clear plastic shower caps that really don't hold all of your hair. Bring those home. Don't use them. You really don't need them. Bring them home. They will fit nicely over some other recycled containers. I do a lot of catering here at work. Let me tell you, those clear caps that come over sandwich trays, they're so great when you have more seeds than you really need to be trying to sow. And then there's heat mats. They speed up the germination. They're great. This one, I kid you not, it is 30 years old. Yeah, that's how long I've had it. Still heats up and everything. Sometimes I have to find it. It's in my garden room. And other times, like this year, because I've had my seed experiment going on all through my house, the top of the fridge works just fine. When I lived in Fredericksburg, the girls, my daughters and I, were always by my side. Seed starting was the happening time of the spring. we would sow it in the whatever we had. We put it on top of the fridge because you may not feel it, but the top of your refrigerator, the top of a radiator, if you live in an old home, is just warm enough. The heat comes from the bottom. And when I tell you the seeds germinate quickly, pepper seeds are known to take a long time to germinate. My babies popped up in a week. It was like, oh, where am I going to store all these pepper seedlings as they grow? But I'll show you later. They are truly my pride and joy. I started them February 1. Every seedling you see in this going forward, I started February 1, right at home in the midst of travel. I also invested in this grow hut. I really didn't need this. I had one when I lived in Virginia. I have no clue what I did with it. I probably will keep better tabs on this one. It has reflective inside. You can do that with aluminum foil, guys. I'm just saying. If you have the right setup. It has adjustable light levels. You can do that too with the right bulbs. All this information you can find online in detail. But like I said, I'm making it fun. I wanted to try something new because people feel as though you have to have all the doodads, all the latest things. You really don't. Have fun with it. This allows you to grow more things. If you work full time and you just want to start some seeds, how much do you really have to grow? Let's think about that. Is it a hobby? Is it a part-time job? Or are you trying to grow for profit? Or are you just trying to grow because you just want to do something fun to kill time till summer comes? You got to know what and why you're growing. And above all things, know thy seed packet. Some things do not have to have light. They don't need heat. You can just put them on some soilless mix or seed starting mix, and they will grow. Like these babies. I mean, they're growing. That was a soilless mix with potting soil. Look at that germination. Now I have to transplant all of them into pots, and it's not warm enough outside. So don't get too happy. Know your limitations. Know exactly how much you're going to grow and why you're growing it. You can grow for friends. You can grow tomatoes, and your friend can grow peppers. Somebody else can say, well, I'm going to wait because I'm growing zinnias and cosmos. You can do them inside. You can do them outside. But just manage your flow. Seeding is addictive. And then there's that issue about watering. This is a little repetitive, but water from below. If you have the dome, whether it's one of those translucent shoe boxes that you put over top of your seed tray, or the catering lid, or the fast food clear dome, if it's secured right, you will see the condensation at the top. That drips down. It keeps seedlings moist. That's all they need from above. They need it below. Below is the answer. If you water from below, you can have fun with things like not having damping off, which is when that seedling that's standing up straight right now goes like this by morning. It's because you basically have rotted it out. It prevents fungus. You see that gray fuzzy? You water from below, generally you won't see that. And when the condensation gets too much and you see like this little baby presented herself to me on day 6, February 6th, sown February 1, I was so happy when I came home. Remove the dome. Otherwise, you're going to set yourself up to have issues. If you water from below, trust me, you will have successful seeding. And if you go out of town and you want to make sure that you've got everything watered, paper towels are great. Wet newspaper is great. Put it underneath your seed tray if you're using a tray. Moisten it. Go on about your business. I did that this year. It was like, you're still alive. Modern small seeds started. This is the kind of stuff you can buy it online. They're cute. They're great. They light up blue, red, green. Really, really cute. So I bought this last year, never used it, but I grew a lot of seeds last year too. This year was like, okay, let me try it for real. So I use these little compostable capsules, so to speak, inside each of these little cell packs. Each of these little cell packs has a different type of seed in it. The beauty of this, which once again you can do with that shoe lid cover or that fast food clear cover, keep it on there, let the moisture build up, keep checking. Once you see what I call seed butts coming up out of the soil, let it come up. Those two first leaves, take it off. Take it off. Don't threaten the process. This is great for small space gardening because if you chose to do tomatoes in one, if you chose to do peppers in one, maybe you choose to do cucumbers in one. I don't know why you would, but maybe you would choose to do basil in one. Each of these can have different items in it, and you'll be able to see the progress of each seed that you put in. It's an experiment. It was fun. It comes with all this. I mean, it's great, but I don't know. I keep thinking back. I don't think my great-grandpa used this. My great-grandpa either put it in the ground or started indoors in anything that was available. I don't see, they didn't have all this back then. And they still grew stuff. These recyclable grocery bags, how many of them are we now getting rid of? Or if you're in certain parts of Maryland, you better have one in your trunk. Well, you know what? After a while, they get a little grungy. Never worry. You can grow in these. You can grow potatoes in them. And it's portable. That's the cutest thing. However, those are my seed babies under the other lights. They're perfect, but I don't need perfection. I just want it to grow. This is what's in the grocery bag. Snap peas, bush snap peas. You can do snapdragons. You can do bush beans. And then I overplanted it with lettuce. So the lettuce will come up. The peas will come up. And that's going to be the cutest container ever. And those seeds are from a seed swap. So basically, all I spent money on was the potting soil, which I needed anyway. And then we all know about winter sowing. Not going to go into detail because there are so many instructions online. There's so many places that you can learn about it. Basically, find somebody that has a milk jug, translucent milk jug. When you cut it, make sure that it allows you to have a hinge. So easy, so free. Reuse, recycle, reduce. That's my mantra because it's fun. And then you need something to poke holes in. I have little snips you want to poke holes in. There are garden markers, but everyone has a Sharpie somewhere. And then duct tape. Now, most seed starting, winter sowing things will show you that awful, ugly silver duct tape. Duct tape comes in colors now. Once again, I believe in having fun. I want joyful experiences all the time. So, of course, my seed tape, my duct tape makes me smile because it's yellow. I know my neighbors are like, oh my goodness, she's got those jugs out again. Well, this year I did put them close to the house, but that yellow tape, and when you look inside the top, oh my goodness, so much fun, because you see all the little babies beginning to sprout. So back to how you're going to do this. Make sure that top is hinged. Poke some holes in the bottom. You want it to drain. Moisten your seed or your potting soil first. Use potting soil. Don't go out in the garden and dig up some soil and put in there. It's too dense. Don't set yourself up for failure. Don't set yourself up going, why is it not working? Just don't. Use potting soil. It drains well. It's friable. Seed swap seeds again. Once again, I already needed the potting soil, so that is all I bought. Seeds, that are very, very fine that you can't see. You can mix them with sand and sprinkle on top, or you can sprinkle them on, cover them with a little bit of vermiculite because that's very, very light. But seeds that you can see, the larger the seed, sprinkle on top, gently press them in. You're not trying to press them into the bottom. Don't overkill this. It's not rocket science. Gently put them on top. Take your finger, or if you have a little dibber or a pencil, use what you got. Gently push them in. That seed packet will tell you how low to push them in. Some of them will say half an inch. Some will say cover thoroughly. Some will say put it in a hill. Read your seed packet. They're your friend. If you receive seeds like this, go online and look it up. You'll find the information for successfully growing whatever it is you're going to put in your winter sowing jug. Look at that beautiful duct tape. So much better than the silver. I wrote on it. Take the cap off of it, because your cap is going to allow rain and or snow to go inside. Some people say, but I tried this and it didn't work. I watered it from the top, and that's when I go, oh, well, that's because you just drowned your babies. No. If your seed, if your potting soil inside is moist, make sure it's moist, not soup, moist. Close up that milk jug, take the lid off, put it outside. Let Mother Nature do her thing. And then you can also use paper towels. So many of us use paper towels. We don't use the whole paper towel. If we're just washing our hands and then you throw it away, don't do that. Flatten that paper towel out. Cut it into strips. All those small seeds that you can barely see, sprinkle them on there. Give them a little space. If it's an old seed, once again, put down 2 fingers, put 2 more seeds, 2 fingers. Let it dry. So you got the 2 layers of paper towel, these tiny seeds inside. Let it dry. Cut it into strips. Put it in your garden. That paper towel that you were going to put in the trash, you just gave it a whole nother life. Just reimagine all the possibilities. If we are intentional as we think about what are we throwing away at home, oh, you'd be surprised. And it will crack you up because you're thinking all these years, I have thrown stuff away. Well, you got to, at some point, just like our children, they grow and it's time for them to go. Make sure that you're using some kind of quality potting mix or raised bed soil. You do not need to have all the raised bed soil or the potting mix with the polymers in them to retain moisture. Once again, my great-grandpa didn't have all that. Just saying. And I'm here, so obviously they ate. I'm just saying. Make sure that you use quality ingredients. The better quality soil you use, basic soil, you're going to have the better results. I promise you that. Once these seedlings have grown, you got to transplant them. Well, remember that 6-pack that you bought at the garden center last year and you're going to throw it away? If you hold on to it, wash it out good with whatever you want. I use biodegradable everything. I'm very concerned about our planet. So I wash them out really, really good. And I've got quite a few that I've collected. And some people have donated them to me. Put your seedlings in there. This is calendula that I started February 1. And I've got a lot of calendula right now. I'm giving some to my sister this weekend because, that calendula really took off. Reusing a meat pack. If you look at the bottom there, wash it out real good. That was in a recyclable stack that I have to go out. But then I thought about it again and went, maybe I won't get rid of that. And those paper towel rolls, toilet paper rolls, Once again, I'm getting rid of a lot of things in my kitchen. I've given my daughter some items, and then there's some items where it's like, maybe I'll use them, maybe I won't. I don't know how many muffin pans you really need. This one, after sharing with my daughters, I had this one left over. It was relatively new, and it was like, those toilet paper rolls keep falling over. Ah, the muffin pan. It will hold them upright. Those babies are singing my praises this morning. I was so happy to go see them. I call it my visitation period. And then this will crack you up. Springform pans. I've given away so many springform pans. And when I went into my closet and I saw I had another one, it was like, are they giving birth in the closet or what? But I'm not really going to use my springform pan anytime soon. So I put my seedlings in it. Why? It's going to hold the moisture in. It's keeping them tight. I can easily, because I'm busy, I will take that springform pan out tomorrow morning, leave it on the front porch. When I come back tomorrow evening, I'll bring it in. It'll be fine. I don't really need to keep it under the lights anymore. If I, for the next week, take it out, bring it in. Take it out, bring it in. I'd rather take this out than a nice long rectangular tray. I'd rather take the meat container out than a nice long tray. That muffin tin is going to look cute outside. I like to keep my neighbors guessing anyway. Once you put them outside, make sure that whatever you're growing is in the proper lighting. Does it need full sun? Remember, the sun is strong. We're still dealing with the winter sun. Be careful. Put your babies in a part sun, part shade area. It might be on the side of the house. Just don't forget it. If they're shade plants, make sure you put them in the shade. You don't want their leaves to burn. And know how much shade you have. Is it dappled shade? Is it full-on shade? You got to know your lighting. If you're like me, walk around your garden every day. I know. Takes time. Make time. It's worth it. You will be such a more grounded individual. Walk around. Notice your lighting at the different times of year. If you're planting in containers, if it's something that, I can plant this now, but by June, end of June, it's going to be blaze on sun. Is that planter too heavy for you to lift? You might want to reconsider. Plant something in that oversized planter that's going to be able to handle the lighting that you're situating it in. And you can also make everything a movable feast. Be aware of your age. Be aware of your limitations. Make sure that you can shift things. If it's a trifecta in the spring with pansies and crocus bulbs coming up, but you want to reuse that planter in the summertime over in the semi-shade part of your yard to grow lettuce, make sure you can move it. If you got to put it on a coaster, put it on a coaster. But make sure that you're gardening within your limitations and that you're not creating all these seed babies that you have absolutely nothing to do with. Covering your soil. Make sure once these babies are planted, you got to make sure that they stay moist. Because would you put your child outside without a raincoat when you know it could be windy, it could be breezy, it could be chilly, or it could be drowning rains? Mulch, whatever you use, you can use shredded paper. I have a shredder. Yeah, I don't use anything glossy or shiny, but regular newsprint. Yeah. You can use fines pine bark and mulch. Something light. You can use cocoa mulch. Oh, mulch. Mulch, another rabbit hole you can go down. Cocoa mulch does smell good, though, when it rains. But just keep stirring it up with your fingers. It's a good thing. The goal of mulch is to keep your babies moist. Suppress any surrounding weeds. So you want to make sure it's an organic mulch. Some people use pebbles and rocks and stones. I personally find that they will go into the ground as opposed to staying on top. So I use something that's going to build my soil, use the organics. So use whatever you're comfortable with. It's your garden, not mine. When mulch breaks down, though, keep in mind you're feeding your soil. Reuse, recycle, reduce. Give it back to nature. Straw, seasoned wood chips, not hot wood chips. If you just had your tree cut down, please don't put that mulch around anything in your yard. Let it sit for at least 8 months, in my opinion. Some garden debris can be used for mulch. When I'm cleaning up my garden, I have a hill. I throw my mulch over the hill, not too far down, and I just let it rot. Because I'm busy. When I need good compost, I take my pitchfork. I go to the bottom of my little pile on the hill. I kind of know which one I started with. It's maybe a couple of piles. It's a big hill, but I can access it from the walkway with my pitchfork. I go to the bottom. I dig out the good stuff, and my garden is like, thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot tell you the last time I bought fertilizer. I've been in my house 21 years. And here's a few tips. Go to a seed swap. It's the best value ever. Bang for your buck. Sometimes they might charge you a nominal fee. A lot of times they're free. You see these cute little free libraries? Make it a seed exchange. Package up some seedlings. Don't put whole packs of seeds in there because some people think, oh, I'll just take that seed packet. Break it down. Label it properly so that others that can't afford can go there and take advantage of some seeds. It is time for all of us to start growing anything that we can eat. It's going to be fun, an experiment, and you can share it. Go to your local public gardens. Most public gardens and even schools in some jurisdictions have edible gardens or gardens for beauty. Both of them work for me. That's where you find the best ideas of what you can grow at home. Whether you're growing a pollinator garden, food for you, food for me, share your seedlings, or if you're growing to give back to community, to food banks. If you go to your public gardens, they will show you, they'll give you the best example of what to grow. During our period of pausing, I went to Chanticleer. Normally, they would have had annuals in several big beds. They grew black-eyed peas. I thought, well, isn't that a novel use of space? Then they donated the black-eyed peas to a woman's shelter. Now, that's giving back, you know? So if you have space and you just like to see things grow, consider it. And yes, the next year I did grow black-eyed peas in my community garden plot. They were the best black-eyed peas I'd ever had in my life. Take pictures. If you're walking through your neighborhood, take pictures. Take a quick video. Journal it. If you grew something last year that you just totally fell in love with, if you labeled it, if you took a picture of it, maybe the finished product, or maybe after you just put it in the ground, if you monitored it through the season, document it so that you have it for the next year. Or if you decide the next year, I just want to grow ornamentals, and you want to give those extra seeds to someone, you got that picture to show what it's going to look like. You can share with them the growth habits. It creates a garden conversation. You're building community by doing that. And then if you find a plant that you love, see if you can grow it from seed. Now, you can't grow everything from seed. Some things will say, well, it's a biennial. You may not want to wait 2 years to see that hollyhock. Then you want to buy the plant. Or buy a small quart-sized plant that was grown from a seed the year prior. You might get late season bloom. You never know. Know what you're working with because it's supposed to be fun. Everyone that has attended this seminar today, it's your responsibility as well as mine to understand that we can grow at home using what we have on hand without financial barriers. And if you think that you can't afford all the latest doodads, go to the Goodwill. You might see something that you donated there a year or two ago that might be useful in your garden today. Or you might take some of those items to the Goodwill because somebody just might be able to use it to grow something. But whatever you do, grow something in the garden today and then share it. Let's just become a world of seed holics like me. Any
Yes,
questions, Courtney?
seedaholics. The fact that you put yourself on seed probation is hilarious to me. But yes, thank you so much, Terry. As usual, you are a wealth of information, a joy to talk to, a joy to learn from. And of course, we have questions. We have a lot of questions, ranging from soil, watering questions. So let's get it going here. First, let's have some questions about watering. Okay.
Mhm.
When you say water from below, can you describe that for us?
If you have the traditional black seed trays, they
Mhm.
usually come in two parts. One part will have the cells, the other part will have a closed bottom.
Okay.
Lift up the corner of the cell or use a needle nose watering can and water below. Put the water in that seed tray. Do not water the seeds or the seedlings themselves. They will dampen off. You will get fungus. You will get discouraged and you'll go, this isn't worth it. If you just put water in that lower chamber,
Hmm.
winning success rates, really.
Okay, so how about more mature plants? Does that sort of thing still work? We have a question about putting water in a dish that's otherwise there to catch water. Will watering below still work for that?
I am a firm believer, even in my garden, when like I don't use a hose, I do
Uh-huh.
use milk jugs. When I'm watering something that looks a little limp, I water the roots. I water the soil. It's the roots that need the moisture, not the foliage. When
Okay.
you water foliage, you're setting yourself up for diseases, and then you've got to find something to fight that disease. That is, you're taking the joy out of it. So
Gotcha.
yes, even my house plants, I water the saucer below.
Uh-huh. Okay. And so thinking about where we water and how you spoke on making sure we water the roots, that kind of brings me to the soil. We know that you said we should use quality soil, but what makes good quality potting soil? That's another question that came from the
It
audience.
should have compost in it.
Okay.
You can buy if you buy basic. I don't really buy soil, except for potting mix.
Okay.
However, if you were to buy soil for something like this, do not buy garden soil. It needs to be friable. Potting soil has perlite and usually a little bit of vermiculite in it. Some of
Uh-huh.
them have a little bit of compost in them. That's what you want. When you start talking about the water absorbing polymers, just you don't really need all that. You really,
Okay.
because then those polymers are made to absorb water. But as a plant parent, you want to go in water. At some
Mhm.
point, something's not going to jive. Don't set
Okay.
yourself up. Yeah.
Okay, so what if I'm a planned parent that is using a newspaper paper towel to keep seed trays moist? How long can I go away
Well,
with this? Huh?
I
It,
I just did 4 days.
okay, okay, gotcha.
I
Because
would I
that,
would
yeah,
say
that came up
beyond.
a couple of times about timelines. Like, I know I'm a good planned parent, but how long? If I need to like go on vacation, like how does this work, especially if I'm just starting the
I
season?
would say well, I just did 4 days. Mine were fine. Even when I have plant sitters help me out,
Okay.
I will do a towel or a paper towel. It's a contraption.
Okay.
Milk jug filled with water,
Uh-huh.
yarn. Yeah, yes, yarn,
Of
One
course.
end in the milk jug, the other end underneath the paper towel or newspaper in that
Yeah.
seed tray.
Yeah.
So it makes a wicking operation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Gotcha.
told you, I'm rabbit holer.
I love it. How do you water below if it's in that milk jug? I mean, we just kind of talked about a wicking kind of thing we could do.
Hmm.
Is there another, or should we stick to the wicking?
Oh no, you have a pan that you're not using in the kitchen,
Yeah.
like a loaf pan,
Yeah.
with the 13 by 9 inch, sheet cake pan.
Yeah.
Take those milk jugs, put water in the pan, set the milk jugs in the pan. It will wick up.
Okay.
When you water inside the milk jug,
Uh-huh.
you're setting yourself up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. All right. So now let's talk about light. Um, we have two folks, really three, a couple of us. When we try to grow seedlings under grow lights, they kind of grow spindly and like they fall over. What are we
Mhm.
doing wrong? How can we fix this? This has
Your
happened
light's too
for
high.
some folks with their sunflowers.
Ooh,
Oh,
your light's too high.
huh.
It needs to be close, like when your seedling grows, almost touching the light. Then you want to raise the light a little bit.
Okay.
If you've got a tray of seeds and your light is 5 inches above, they're going to be spindly.
Okay.
So, and that's why I say grow as many seeds as you really need. And if you're going to use lights, it's probably better done in a window. But if you got your grow lights and you just want to be like, me, a geek, make sure that you have time to raise the lights in increments.
Okay.
So you have to put yourself on a schedule to say, okay, it's Monday. They're looking good. Check them on Wednesday. If
Hmm.
something has all of a sudden shot up and almost touching that light bulb, move it up a little bit.
Okay.
Check it on Friday, move it up a little bit. That's why I say, for real, lights are great. You don't need them.
Okay.
Put them in the kitchen window. If your seedling grows up and starts going towards outdoor light, turn the cup or pot or whatever around so it'll straighten up.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So this idea of is there like a certain time of year? I guess that's best for starting seeds. Like if I don't use grow lights, is there a particular time of year where the sun is just right and ready for a seed growing if I put it in the window? I
Well,
know.
once again, you have to know your house, know your lighting.
Okay.
My sunlight comes in the front
Okay.
and goes on the side of my house and then the back.
Okay.
So most of the time in the wintertime, we're indoors nesting anyway. So if you know that you got full sun in the front of your house and you're still inside, maybe put a couple of cups there. And then if you notice that they're shooting up too fast, move
Mm-hmm.
them to the back where they don't get so much light so quickly. It's going to slow their growth down a little bit. You know,
Uh, okay.
everything doesn't need bold on sun all the time because yes, it's going to get spindly because you just told them, please grow on. No,
Yes.
you want them to grow at the appropriate time. It
Okay.
makes it so much more fun when you have success growing
Hmm.
indoors.
So what if I have several seeds? Well, I will, right? I'll have several seeds in a growing pot, and some of them are growing faster than the other. And I'm trying to figure out, well, should I adjust the light for this one, even though it's going to impact all of them? Should I take some of them out of their little capsules and put them somewhere else? How can I be a better plant parent?
The ones that are growing quickly, you can use an old teaspoon. Like I said, go into your kitchen, an old measuring spoon.
Okay.
Gently prick them out, the end of a pencil tip, I have a lot of used pencils that I've had for years. Popsicle sticks, coffee stirrers. Prick those out.
Uh-huh.
Reuse those 6 packs from last year's growing season. Use a toilet paper roll. Yes, you can.
Yes,
You
yes.
can make the paper pots if you want, but toilet paper rolls work just as fine, just as well. Little potting soil. Put those faster growing seedlings in there. Make
Okay.
sure that you provide a saucer or something under them. So when you water from the bottom,
Hmm.
the roots will meet that water. When I was transplanting those calendula seedlings, oh my goodness, those were the happiest roots I'd ever seen since last year.
Wow.
At the bottom.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So it sounds like we have a couple of options here. We have um, either direct sunlight, putting them in the window, or actually getting a growing light. Now, with the growing light, can I use a lamp? Can I use
No,
a lamp in my house, or is there a particular kind of light that I need?
no. You'll find grow lights on the market, but
Okay, and it'll
once
be
again,
labeled a grow light because it's
it's
specific.
labeled a grow light.
Okay,
And you can use daylight neutral bulbs. But let me tell you something.
okay.
You can get or create an inexpensive greenhouse using shelving.
Mm-hmm.
Something you can use bricks, cinder blocks, wood blocks, whatever. Your shelving. Make sure you put some type of plastic over it. There's that laundry bag. Somebody's still going to dry cleaners.
Yes, and
Ask your friends to save you some.
and that's for the humidity. Is that okay?
That's to keep the humidity and keep the moisture in.
Yes.
And honestly, I used that one year in my living room. My friends understand me. In my living room, part shade, I grew hibiscus seedlings, tomato seedlings, pepper seedlings, various perennial seedlings. It was not in full sun. It was not by that sunny window in the front of my house. It was on
Hmm.
the inner wall, right in front of a heat vent to keep that heat in. The moisture, the condensation was perfect on those
Wow.
dry cleaning bags. And I had more seedlings than I knew what to do with.
Wow.
Just grow
Okay.
it.
Just grow it, and even if I have like a paper egg carton, can I use
Paper,
that?
yes. Yeah,
The
because you
paper
shouldn't,
one.
yeah, paper ones. And
Okay.
the paper egg cartons, those are great because you can cut them apart. You can plant the whole thing.
Okay.
That's the beauty of it. You can make some out of newspaper too. Plant the whole thing. I'm
Okay.
not a fan of peat pots. Cow pots are great. If you're concerned about, oh, it's not going to let the roots get out, slice the bottom of them.
And there you have it.
Yeah,
And you get space.
right.
So this let's go back to soils and things because now folks are having more questions. You got us rolling now. Um, can you use potting soil like with fertilizer?
I just don't. I don't.
Okay,
I
okay,
just don't.
okay, gotcha. And what are some of the differences between like the different soils or soilless mixes for seed starting?
Soilless mixes, they don't have soil in them for one. They have other components.
Mhm.
And if you're going to go with a soilless mix, you want to make sure that it's certified organic. Some
Okay,
things will not be suitable for growing food in. So you
they
want
can.
to read the label.
Okay,
And by law, they will tell you, you know,
this is not
specifically used
food.
for food or not for use for food.
Yeah.
Have on hand a 5-gallon bucket. Once again, there are some 5-gallon buckets that are not suitable for using for food. So I say that because even though you may not be growing in the bucket, but you can,
Hmm.
um, putting your soil mix in there, you don't know if it had chemicals in it. Is that residue going to taint your mix or your soil?
Okay.
So there are, gee, I'll say 30 plus years ago when I first started growing seeds, soilless seed mix was the jam. Everyone opted for that.
Okay.
I find personal choice. I mix it with a basic potting soil that does not have fertilizer in it. If I buy fertilizer, I buy fish emulsion. I do not buy any commercial fertilizers.
Okay.
Or if you have a goldfish, use that goldfish water. It works so well. Yes,
Cease to amaze
yes.
me too.
When my girls were growing up, we had a goldfish named Fred. Fred gave us so much fertilizer. Just you change the
Wow.
water out. Don't throw the
Yeah.
water away.
Yeah.
Feed your
It's
plants.
fertilizer.
Yeah. So why buy a soil mix that has fertilizer in it? You don't know what that fertilizer is for real.
Yeah.
So create your own fertilizer. Choose your own fertilizer. Make it your choice. But once again, I lean heavily on my ancestors. I just don't think great grandpa was going to the store and buying fertilizer. Just saying.
There you have it. Right. And so, last question: is it too late to start now? Can
Oh
I,
no.
if I have it, my toilet paper rolls, if I got my stuff, can I start today?
Yes, you could have
Oh,
started last week.
all
You
right.
know, pay attention to before you get too happy. Like
Okay.
me and those peppers are going to have some discussions, but
Okay.
because it's a lot of them, I'm not even going to tell you how many it is, but all 5 of those with 12 in each one. That's a lot of peppers. So, but look at your last, the date of your last frost. Once again,
Okay.
go to the USDA website. They will tell you your last chance of freeze and your last chance of frost. I'm not going to give the date because I don't know where everyone is from here.
Mm-hmm.
Know your zone. If you know your zone, that's where you start.
Okay.
Once you know your last freeze date and your last frost date, that's going to be your guiding factor on growing inside because it'll tell you 5 days to germination, two
Okay.
weeks, 21 days to germination. That means technically, not my peppers this year, but technically that means 21 days you should see something pop up out of your mix, whatever you're using. And then it's going to start growing. So,
Gotcha.
yeah,
Gotcha.
know your zone and start
Okay.
there and read the back of your seed packet.
Terry, it's 1 o'clock. It's
I was
always
just getting
I
started.
know, I know. I'm so it's always such a delight. It's such an experience to have you with us. Thank you all so much for attending today.